Oh, it's been doing its own thing. Okay, this is the Speak Easy podcast where we go behind the scenes and talk to you about what it is to be the professional speaker and author, the successfully paid speaker and author. I am your host, Altovise Pelzer, and apparently my audio was doing its own thing, but that's okay, because guess what? We are here over in the Desire to Inspire community. I appreciate you guys. Sorry about that. I don't know what was going on. It just gave me some strange notice. I'm hoping you guys were able to hear all of the amazing things I said to you guys. If not, don't worry. I'll get back and say it to you all over again. Again, this is the Speak Easy podcast, and I am your host, Altovise Pelzer, the voice coach, professional speaker, certified life coach, Amazon bestselling author and podcaster, and founder of the World Voice League, right? A community of entrepreneurs coming together to impact the 5 major areas of social change. So with that being said, guys, I always do something in my business that I'm a little weird, right? Not everybody does this. Some people have really given me the side eye, that makes no sense. Why would you take that much time in doing this? But I found that it's been one of the key elements that have really pushed me in my business. I'm all for investing in myself. Most people invest a little bit in themselves, but they want a huge return. And I say, that's not how any of this goes. But I invest in myself, and because I know the return that's going to come from investing in myself. Part of that means me sitting down, shutting everything down, not doing anything, and giving myself some time to reflect. Now, that reflection may be me watching a documentary. It may be me watching, me listening to a podcast. Yes, I listen to podcasts, that part. It may be me listening to a podcast. It may be me going and listening or reading a book. So I need you guys to understand that investment in yourself is very important if you're trying to be successful as a speaker, as an author. There is no author or speaker that has made it to any level of success that does not spend some time investing in themselves, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, all around the board. So with that being said, this week I did my shutdown yesterday. And when I shut down, I watched a movie called The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind. And so I was looking at, it's a Netflix original, which they're not paying for this, but that's okay. It's a Netflix original. It is by Chiwetel Ejiofor. Is the director. And I was so super excited about watching it. But I always take some business tips away from stuff. I always take this, I guess that's the entrepreneur in me, is that you always see something business related. Anytime you're somewhere watching something, listening, it's always the business mind does not turn off. There's no off switch. You'll be talking to your kids and then a business, it'll turn into a business meeting with your kids simply because that entrepreneurial mindset, it just doesn't switch off. I think you just have to wait for the batteries to die or something. That's what they tell me. So I was watching this movie, and I'm not going to give you a spoiler. I'm not going to give you what happened in it, but I am going to tell you that it is a huge, huge encouragement. And why is it a huge encouragement? It's a huge encouragement because many of us as entrepreneurs and speakers can think on the lines of what it is he endured. We remember what it means to have somebody not believe in us. We know what it means and feels like to have people walk away from us and truly think that what it is that we have to say does not have value. Many of you know that as a coach, as a speaker, a lot of times, especially when you're coming into the industry, is that, we think that we don't have value simply because we're just now starting the business piece of it. And we don't really value the years and years of experience and wisdom that we're bringing into this business. We have to understand our day one of the business is not our day one. I need you to have that understanding. And I need you to have it quickly. Your day one in the business is not your day one all the way around. It is not. Your day one in the business is just your day one in the business. And you have all this experience and knowledge and creativity and wisdom. You have all of that that's coming with you that makes this not a day one. It may be a day 100 for you. It may be a day 1000, but it's definitely not a day one. So I need you guys to have that understanding before we even get started. And so with that being said, now one of the things that I will say about this particular movie is that it speaks to that creativity. It speaks to never allowing yourself to become complacent with what's the norm, with what's, what everybody says is what's supposed to happen. And as a speaker, especially in the technology age, that's something that we really have to hold on to. We cannot stand and say, oh, I can do okay. It's the normal for a speaker to do X, Y, and Z. It's normal for a speaker to do this. There is no, it's normal. It's whatever is going to be your normal. Yeah, I'll repeat it in case you missed it. It's not necessarily what's normal. It's what's your normal. We went from every speaker you saw always had on a dress, always had on a three-piece suit, always had a tie or had their handkerchief in their pocket or their pocket square and all of these different things, to a time where speakers are showing up in t-shirts and jeans, and it's not about what they're wearing, it's about the message. Times they have changed, because many of you have seen speakers who have come in with a whole suit, a whole dress, listen, hair, nails, makeup, everything to the nines, and their speech was garbage. So we're no longer taking things at face value. And so when we decide that we're no longer taking it at face value, now we can go back and say, okay, what's the important piece of this? What am I really taking away? I know we saw a huge shift in people going to a lot of the motivational conferences, because they would go to a motivational conference, and some of them are literally like, they would be conference hoppers. They'll be at all of them, but they wouldn't be walking away with any tangible steps, any real world application. And so they would go there, get excited, and then when they leave, they're back at square one. So we've moved away from that. There are still some people that, move in that circle, in that realm, and that's okay for whoever that's going to help and work with. But now we're in a realm where I'm coming for this information because I know the value of this information and what it can do for not just me, but for my clients, for my community, for my family, for my legacy. I understand that. So going back to the movie, again, I'm not going to no spoiler alerts here. They're in Africa, in Malawi, and there's a huge amount of trials and roadblocks that come into their path. And this young man by the name of William, who is a 13-year-old. This is another reason why I was so thrilled. I was thrilled by the movie. In case you wanted my personal opinion, even though this is not that type of show, but I loved it, every bit of it. But he was 13, and even at 13, you saw his creativity, you saw his drive, his tenacity, and even though you saw it, it was very hard for them to invest in it, because it was a huge shift in mindset. It was a huge shift in, listen, financially, it was a heavy load. And I mean, so many things. How many of us as speakers remember that first time us going to an event and we had to pay for our slot, or we had to go to an event and had to pay for a flight, we had to pay for our hotel. And sometimes there were some events we had to say no to because we didn't necessarily have the money to go. Now, granted, everybody's different, so let me put this disclaimer in there. Yes, there are people that pay for speaking opportunities. Yes, there are people, and they're legitimate speaking opportunities, but there are also some that people pay for that they literally get there and nobody else is there. So understand that. I'm not telling you that you should go and pay for every speaking opportunity. No. You will not come back to the unicorn and say that that was my fault. No. But we do have to understand that, yes, sometimes we're going to have to pay an investment, and what are we getting? We always have to look at what's the return on this investment, that part. So I'm super excited. Again, like I said, when we go back to the movie and we think about all of the things that he was able to do, by the end of the movie, first of all, just know that I was fighting back tears about like a third of the way into the movie. No, I was just sitting there like, oh my goodness, emotional, surprised, got a little angry a couple times, got a little mad. But it does. It's you got to think it was this, and I got to first say this. One of the reasons why I'm talking about this movie is because this movie is a book, and it's a book that was turned into a movie on Netflix. I know one of the things that we have spoken about before was that you have unlimited possibilities when it comes to your story, when it comes to your writing, as an author, as a speaker. You have so many possibilities. Stop trying to hold yourself back. And so here it is, a book became a movie on Netflix, and it was amazingly good, that part. So who's to say that the book that you wrote cannot be a movie on Netflix? Don't worry, I'll wait. So with that being said, don't stop dreaming. But let's go to these tips real quick, because I want you to not only hear these tips, I want you to replay this. I want you to hear it multiple times. I want you to come back to this episode every time you get ready to do another quarter. I want you to come back to this episode every time another quarter is about to end. I want you to download this episode simply because this is something that we're going to come in contact with on every level of success in this journey. There's not going to be one time where we're not going to come against these things on some way, shape, or form, or some level from some of the people that we're closest to sometimes. That part. So one of the things that stood out to me was when you act, people will invest. And this stood out to me personally because in the beginning, when I first started my business in 2014, I didn't really have a whole lot of momentum. I didn't really have a whole lot of support, not as much as support as I have now. But I did not have all of that momentum and support in the beginning. But I kept going. And as I kept going, as I kept taking action, literally I saw people show up. And that's one of the key things that I really saw in this movie was that, listen, when you act, people will show up and want to invest in what you're doing. And I get it. We get so many no's that we kind of get deterred from fighting for the yes. We do. We get so many no's that we could get completely turned off when it comes time to fight for the yes. But I'm here to tell you that you need to keep fighting for the yes. Keep fighting for the yes. And everything that you need is going to show up along the way. But you got to keep fighting for the yes. You cannot think that, oh, well, no, I can, they said no, so that means I shouldn't do it. Or I hear this all the time where people say, well, it must be God telling me not to do this. Listen, sometimes you got to come up against a brick wall in order for you to gain access to an understanding of how to either overcome the brick wall, break through the brick wall, go around the brick wall, or go under the brick wall. Why? Because it's those lessons that we learn in coming up against that brick wall that allow us to be able to teach somebody else that. It allows us to be able to become stronger. It allows us to understand that, we really put in the work. You know how people say people don't respect free. But when you put in the work, when you overcome some things, then guess what? You're going to fight for it. This is my baby. Speakeasy Podcast, I'll fight for this. This is my baby because I had to overcome some things in order for me to say yes to this opportunity. Guess what? I'm not the only one. Understand where you are in your business. Understand where you are. Look back at your own life and at the brick walls that came up in your life, the bend in the road, the fork in the road. Look at those times and look at the lessons that you learned from them. Yeah, you didn't get here by happenstance. You put in some work. So guess what? That means something. And so when you act, people will invest. They will literally invest, not just time, not just money. They will invest energy. They will become the people that speak for your business. They will become the people that are going out and telling other people about your business more than what you're telling. Yeah, they'll be the ones. You know how these different celebrities have so many followers? You know why? Because they've built that up. People have been able to see their journey. You want to know why so many people love Beyonce? It's because they've watched Beyonce's journey from way when she was little. They've watched the journey. But guess what? They're also invested in it. They've gone out and bought CDs. They've gone and bought tickets to concerts. They've bought merchandise. That's what they do. So building that momentum comes from your action. That was number one. Number two is ideas always sound crazy when they are still an idea. Can I tell you something? That literally, if you are someone who comes up with a new idea, there's always going to be somebody who tells you, don't do it. I can guarantee you, there's going to be somebody that tells you not to do it because in their mind, it's not valid. In their mind, it's not something that can actually work or actually happen. But the reality is that not only is it something that can actually work and actually happen, but it's something that can help them and grow them as much as it's going to grow you. But people don't always see that. So an idea always sounds crazy when it's just an idea. We cannot fault people for not believing in the vision and the mission that was given to us. As a speaker, as someone who creates platforms for other speakers, I can tell you, people said to me about doing the Speakeasy podcast, it wasn't going to be a good idea because, well, why are you letting them come on for free? But no, they should have to pay and they're getting exposure. And that's the point. That's the point. When you come on a Speakeasy podcast, you're getting exposure. You're getting opportunity that you may not have had before. That is it. But I can tell you that if I would have listened to the people that told me that I should have been charging people to get on and all types of other stuff, what would have happened was last year, I actually got an email from someone who saw one of the episodes, saw a replay on YouTube, and said, I wanted to let you know, they were letting me know that the young lady I had interviewed had just been killed in a murder-suicide by her husband. Domestic violent relationship. What? I read the email and I couldn't do anything but just stop in my tracks. I think I was stuck in one place for at least an hour. I didn't know my mind. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say, what to respond. And finally, I was like, well, wait. Let me share out the replay. And somebody would probably say, oh, well, she shared out the replay because, she wanted somebody to listen to the replay. No, that wasn't it at all. See, I'm somebody who does my podcast different. So when you're on my podcast, you're going to have a great time. We're going to laugh sometimes. We're going to talk about some deep things. We're going to talk about some blunders, but you're going to smile. I'm going to hear about those important pieces of your journey. And for that young lady, she smiled. She was laughing on the podcast. She also talked about her mother being one of her most supportive people in her circle. And I said, wow, as a mother myself, I shared it so that another mother, even in the midst of grieving, would be able to have the opportunity to hear her daughter's voice, her daughter laughing, see her daughter smiling, and hear how much her daughter loved her. Man, there's no way that anybody could have told me that that was going to be something I'd be able to do. Because when I first talked about launching the podcast, that was a crazy idea. Doesn't seem so crazy now. Same thing with the World Voice Summit, virtual summit, 100 plus speakers from 6 continents. Oh, you're not charging enough. Oh, you giving them too much time. I got all types of riffs from people all over. We pulled it together and we pulled it off and had 100 plus speakers come together from all over the world. Connections were made. People were ready. They're like, oh my goodness, I want to be a part of the World Voice League. Whatever you guys have coming up, please keep me updated, keep me abreast of it. I want to be a part of it. How do I become a part of the team? Everything, guys. Everything. We have to understand the value that we have. And so when we understand that value, an idea is so much more than an idea for us. It's a seed in the ground. And we never know just how big of a harvest that seed is going to give us. When you plant an apple seed, you don't know how many apples are going to be on that tree. You just know that there's going to be apples. When you have an idea, it's the same thing. You're planting that idea. You don't know how many things are going to come from that, but you know something's going to happen. So ideas always sound crazy when they are still an idea. Never, 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 ever forget that. Simply because I need you to understand this goes a whole lot further than the twos and fews. This is bigger than you. As a speaker, as an author, this is bigger than you. And it can touch so many lives. And then the third thing that I wanted to share with you guys that really stuck out to me was, sometimes you got to change your surroundings. And man, it's going to be painful. The people around you aren't going to want you to leave. They're going to be like, please don't go. Please don't go. Don't do it. Don't leave me. Don't leave me. Listen, people around you are not necessarily going to want you to go. I can say that for my business, one of the biggest things that happened for me was me moving to Maryland. Because I was away from what I was used to. I was away from my comfort zone. And sometimes when you make that move is going to put you somewhere that's uncomfortable. It's going to put you somewhere that you've never been before, but it's also going to put you somewhere where you can make even more money and you can grow your business and you can really take some things to a whole nother level. So as a speaker, remember, you're always the entrepreneur as a speaker and author. And this is your opportunity to grow. This is your opportunity. Sometimes that means I got to exit stage left. I got to go ahead and and take that flight. Sometimes that means I got to go and find a different community to be a part of. Sometimes that means I got to go and access something else that's going to be great for me. Sometimes you have to change your surroundings. And it can be simple, guys. Don't think that I'm saying, oh my goodness, you have to go and move to another country today. Mm-mm. Granted, I've had speakers and guests who have done so, who have moved out of the country or to other places and everything like that. But it's a matter of sometimes I just got to change my surroundings. So maybe you need to switch up your office now. Maybe you need to go ahead and clear out some things. Maybe you need to go ahead and shift what's going on in your office. Maybe you need to throw some things away. Y'all know we become hoarders, right? We hold on to a lot of stuff that we don't really need. So maybe it's time for us to go and to take some things and move it away and give it away and throw it out. And why? Because guess what? We can't hold on to everything. We can't take everything with us. So now access has been granted. I got to go ahead and say, what's going on in my surroundings? How can I switch this up? And then once I switch it up, you're going to see some changes. It's going to feel a little odd. It's going to feel a little different. You're definitely going to be outside your comfort zone. I can tell you that for darn sure. But not only will you be outside of your comfort zone, now you'll realize that, guess what? You're not alone. You're not alone at all. Even though you may have thought you were, you're not. So I need you guys to have that understanding. Now is the time. So I'll go and do a quick recap of the 3 things that really stood out from the movie for me business-wise. If you have not gone and checked out the movie, definitely go check it out. It's The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind. Man, it was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful message. Beautiful, beautiful movie. I loved it. But that was one of the ways that I invested in myself and in my business this week. And so literally the 3 things were, when you get people, when you act, people will invest. When you take that step forward, there's going to be somebody that may have what it is that you needed, that you were saying you needed all along, but they didn't know that you needed it because you weren't even taking action. So sometimes you got to just go ahead and act on some things. You got to go ahead and say yes to opportunities. Also, ideas always sound crazy when they are still an idea. And it was so interesting listening to him explain his idea and the feedback he was getting and the no's he was getting. And oh my goodness, I see it all the time as speakers and authors and entrepreneurs where we get a lot of no's, guys. We do. It's a part of the journey. We get a lot of no's, but you got to keep pressing in for that yes. Because guess what? That yes could be the very next conversation you have. That could be the yes that you needed for you to be able to leave your job. It could be the yes you needed for you to be able to make $1 million if that's what you choose to do. But you got to keep going, even through the no's. And then number 3 was sometimes you have to change your surroundings. Guys, I cannot stress enough. Sometimes you got to change your surroundings in your home. Sometimes it means that you just may have to go for a walk every day in order just to get outside and get something different when it comes to your surroundings and what it is that you're seeing. Sometimes it may mean you may need to take a vacation. You may need to go and network in a different place or go and connect with different people. Knowing your mindset, knowing your body, knowing who you are and literally how things affect you is going to help you in the long run. So maybe it's time to take that vacation. I'm just saying. But if you do, by all means, you can make sure that you send us some brownies over at the Speakeasy Podcast because we don't turn down brownies over here because I'm just, that part. I mean, you're traveling anyway. You might as well just pick up an extra brownie. But I am super excited, guys. We are doing some phenomenal things. We have opened up the World Voice League. It opens up the end of this month into the beginning of April, so people can come and join the membership. Super, super excited. But not only that, We have some new things, some new access points, some new benefits and bonuses that we're going to be uploading the website with. So if you want more information, bit.ly WVL member is how you get access to that information. And then not only that, guys, listen, I understand that it's not easy for everybody. I get that. That's why we made the World Voice League, a virtual community center where entrepreneurs, speakers, and authors can come together and not only get access to the information they need for less than $25 a week, but they also get access to community. They also get access to exposure. A lot of the memberships that are out there, you don't get that level of access where you have exposure, where you're doing trainings, where you're getting information and you're getting opportunities, speaking opportunities, and opportunities for you to invest, to be able to expand your business. I mean, so many things, guys, are in store that we need to understand. Hey, it pays to be in the membership. But that part, bit.ly/WVL member. And like I said, some updates will be coming there because we have a couple new benefits that are coming out for you guys very, very shortly. With that being said, guys, I appreciate you coming and joining me on today's episode. If you are a speaker and author, by all means, register to come be a guest. bit.ly/Speakeasy Podcast, all lowercase, is how you can register to be a guest here on the show. And guys, until next time, don't forget to press it out. See ya.